Some writers of fiction paint with a very broad brush and
carefully avoid
cluttering their writing with minutiae.
Others make full use of significant detail to add texture
and deeper meaning
to the stories they tell.
The different ways detail can be used. It really brings out the important elements of a story.
As Charles R. Swindoll once said, the difference between something good and something great is attention to detail.
Detail plays a very important part in novels because it allows us to understand a setting, to understand characters, and to better get a picture of the story that we are being told.
In Master Harold and the Boys, we see that detail is used to add mainly texture to the environment that it's set in. The tea room is basically the only location when they actually put the production on that is used, and the amount of detail that is used to describe this, you really understand where they are and what's going on.
For example, there's a quotation on page 3, and it says, "Tables and chairs have been cleared and are stacked on one side."
Other elements, a serving counter with a few stale cakes under a glass, and a not very impressive display of sweets, cigarettes, and cool drinks, etc.
A few cardboard advertising handouts, Cadbury's chocolate,
Coca-Cola, and a blackboard on which an untrained hand had chalked up the prices of tea, coffee, scones, milkshakes, all flavors, and cool drinks, a few sad ferns and pots, a telephone, and an old-style jukebox. This quotation really goes into describing what the scene looks like.
Through this extremely specific location and setting, the author can then build upon and say why the setting is the way it is, and use the detail through the texture to explain the story and to further build upon the story. In Things Fall Apart, there's a special emphasis on the use of detail in order to help provide a deeper emotional connection with characters. Through this detail, we're able to understand why the characters do what they do, because it gives us a deeper meaning about the culture they live in and the choices they make and why they make the choices they make.
The main character, Okonkwo, is known as a strong warrior, a very successful within his village and also within the surrounding villages. And his father, on the contrary, is a failure of a man in the villages. And there's a quotation on pages 17 and 18. It says, "You have offended neither the gods nor your fathers. And when a man is at peace with his gods and his ancestors,
his harvest will be good or bad, according to the strength of his arm. You, Unoka, are known in all the clan for the weakness of your machete and your hoe. When your neighbors go out with their axe to cut down virgin forests, you sow your yams on exhausted farms that take no labor to clear. They cross 7 rivers to make their farms. You stay at home and offer sacrifices to a reluctant soil. Go home and work like a man." This quotation offers us a little bit of insight into the values that are presented in Umuofia. Through this detailed description, he gives a deeper meaning and really allows us to connect and understand and participate in the culture that these characters mention.
The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver is unique because it combines the idea of detail with texture and detail with deeper meaning.
there's a quotation on page 215. And this quotation really highlights how Ruth May is this innocent character who really just describes what she sees. The quotation reads, "I dreamed I climbed away up to the top of the alligator pear tree
and was looking down at all of them. The teeny little children with crooked cowboy legs and their big eyes looking up, and the teeniest wrapped up babies with little hands and faces that are just as fair till they get older and turn black.
For it takes a spell, I guess, before God notices that they are the tribes of Ham. And the dirt-colored houses are all just the same as the dirt they are sitting on." Through this quotation, she describes Africa, so as an audience we're able to see the texture of Africa, but we also are able to understand her throughout the way she describes it.
Detail is imperative to these 3 books. Without the use of detail, without the way that they provide texture and the deeper meaning that they do, these books really wouldn't be the way that they are.
Without detail in Master Harold and the Boys, the texture would be off and the audience wouldn't be able to understand the setting of where these characters grew up in. Without detail in Things Fall Apart, it would be an empty novel about African cultures that the audience, the Western audience that it was geared for, doesn't understand. and without detail in the Poison of the Bible, not only would there not be any texture about where they were in Africa, but we would also not understand the characters through the detail provided.
The authors use minutiae and detail to establish an effective connection between the audience and the deeper meaning behind the works, and also to provide the audience with texture to allow them to experience exactly what the characters are experiencing.
It helps us to visualize things in a way that we can visualize and understand and perceive everything that's going on in a coherent manner, and that is exactly what all these authors do with this detail.